Hey, Tapping Allies Math Industry, and we're going to be taking a look at absolute value bar equations. So, in the previous video, when we talked about the review of absolute value, we talked about what those bars were going to do to the numbers in the middle of them. And we also talked about in that previous video is how to solve this. But x is going to equal with two different answers. And if you do that and insert that into your variable, it will make this equation true. So let's start doing this one. Unlike the previous video, we solved problems that look like these. But the only difference about this kind of problem and the one that was later solved in the last video is that there's a number 4 right next to one of the absolute value bars. Many people are tempted to distribute the 4 to m and the 4 to 8. You don't want to do that, because absolute value bars are not parentheses. Parentheses are actually lines that are curved. These lines don't look like they are curved. So this way, we do not distribute. What we can do to get rid of that 4 is we're going to have to divide this side by 4 and divide this by 4. So 4 divided by 4, that is going to cancel out. So now we have the absolute value bars of m plus 8, and 56 divided by 4 is going to become 14. So now we pretty much simplified this equation to that equation without touching what's inside the absolute value bars or messing with the absolute value bars. The next step is what we're going to do is we're going to come up with two equations that will make this equation on the top true. Because with absolute value, you're going to get two answers as whatever n is. So, the first scenario can be n plus 8 is going to equal 14. And the other scenario is m plus 8 is going to be equal to negative 14. The reason why is if you put a negative in the parentheses, the reason why is if you put a negative in the absolute value bars, it will always become a positive. Absolute value bars will tell numbers to stay positive. So what we're going to do is solve this equation and that equation. So we have 8 equals 14. So we're going to subtract this by 8 and subtract that by 8. We're going to get as answer as m is going to equal 6. On the other side, on the other equation, we're going to minus this by 8 and minus this by 8. We're going to get an answer of m is going to equal negative 22. So, we said earlier that we're going to get two answers. So, this is what n can equal to. 6n or negative 22. Let's try it out by inserting those numbers in for n. So here, we have the equation. Let's use our first answer as m and insert that into this equation as 6. So what we're going to do is do 6 plus 8 because it's between the two bars and we're using order of operations. So 6 plus 8 is going to be 14. And since that 4 is there, we're going to be multiplying by 14. And that is going to be 56. 56 with the absolute value bars is going to stay 56. If you put a positive number in absolute value bars, they will activate. But nothing will change because it's still a positive number. So, that is a solution to this problem. But what happens if you come across a scenario that looks like this kind of problem? So, we're going to get a very strange answer when we try and simplify this and see what this is. So what we're going to do is have this 8 and subtract that by 8 and subtract this side by 8 because we're going to be using SPE. The first thing to do is mess with the 8, not with the 2, and definitely not the absolute value bars or what's inside it. So 8 minus 8 is 0, and negative 4 minus negative 8 is going to be a negative 12. And we rewrite the problem as 2 absolute value bars, x minus 5. But there is a problem. What we're trying to look for is to get a number with absolute value bars, like 4, just one number, and it's going to become a positive number. And vice versa. A negative number in absolute value bars is still going to be a positive number. But there is one problem. Whatever this is, 2 with the absolute value bars, x minus 5, is going to equal negative 12? Huh? We're looking for a positive. And since there's no name or symbol or scientific name for it to turn it into a negative number, then it's not going to work because we want a positive number, not a negative number. So what we're going to be doing is our final answer is no solution because these bars are wanting the whole equation to be positive. But how can it equal a negative number? This is not going to work either. The absolute value of 12 is not negative 12. It's still going to be a positive 12. This is another example of why this won't work. I hope this video has helped you. Thank you for watching Taoping Airlines Math History. Like and subscribe.